Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive
Ooh, deep dive.
into how the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is led.
Okay.
We'll be using President Henry B. Eyring's talk, The Lord Leads His Church, as our guide.
Perfect.
He was speaking to priesthood holders, but honestly,
Right.
his message about faith's role in both leading and following,
Mm-hmm.
it's relevant to every single one of us.
Absolutely, yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
How does a global organization like the church actually function effectively?
That's a good question.
Eyring suggests it all boils down to faith,
Okay.
not just in God,
Right.
but in each other, even with all our imperfections.
Yeah, and that's where things get really interesting.
Right.
Because he doesn't shy away from the fact that we're all human here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Eyring starts by reminding us of that foundation,
Yeah.
the church's belief that Jesus Christ is the head.
Right. Sets the stage.
Sets the stage.
And then he lays out these four, I guess you could call them key principles,
Mm-hmm.
that flow from that.
Okay.
So Christ leads through living prophets.
Mm-hmm.
This guidance comes through ongoing revelation,
Yeah.
which isn't just some ancient history thing.
Right.
It's happening now.
Yeah.
Past revelations are still important, of course.
Right.
But then there's this this crucial point that those serving under prophets,
Yeah.
they receive confirming revelation too.
So it's not just a one-way street.
Right.
You know, it's
Yeah.
not just blind obedience.
Yeah.
It's this network of individuals all striving to
Okay.
get on the same page,
Yeah.
spiritually speaking.
I love that. It's like, it's fascinating to me is how this system,
Mm-hmm.
relying so heavily on personal revelation,
Yeah,
sets the church apart from so many other organizations.
it really does.
It's not just top down. It's, well, I imagine, is how a well-functioning family operates.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
There's trust
Yeah.
communication flown both ways.
Okay, but here's the catch. And Eyring totally owns this.
Right.
Leading and following with this kind of faith, it's hard.
Well, yeah.
Because every single person involved is imperfect.
Every single one, yeah.
Right.
And he even jokes about it.
It does.
Those of us who may have gotten a calling and thought, are you sure this is right?
Oh, for sure.
Or we've seen someone in a position and thought, they are totally wrong for this.
Yep.
You
Happens all the time.
It's the human perspective, right?
It's the human perspective.
But Eyring challenges us to remember that God sees things differently.
Yes.
He doesn't want us to get caught up in judging others.
Right.
Instead, the focus should be on developing our own capacity to receive revelation and act on it.
I love that. Yeah, that's good.
It's about self-improvement.
So how does this actually play out in real life?
Right.
Eyring uses some great examples.
Yeah, he does.
He starts with this young deacon, totally nervous,
Oh.
who's tasked with bringing a less active boy back to church. Oh, I remember that story.
Yeah, think about that for a minute,
Okay.
from that deacon's point of view.
Yeah, he's probably thinking, what do I even say?
Exactly.
This kid's like twice my size.
But he acts on faith anyway.
It does.
And guess what? It works.
It does.
The boy comes back, happy as can be.
I love it.
It's such a simple story.
It is, yeah.
But it illustrates that even when we're unsure,
Mm-hmm.
taking that step of faith
Right.
can lead to amazing outcomes.
Absolutely.
And it's not just for deacons.
Right.
He then talks about bishops.
Okay.
These individuals called to lead people who know all their strengths and duty weaknesses.
Right.
And here's where trust becomes absolutely essential.
Yes.
Because for the bishop to receive the revelation he needs to lead effectively, the members have to trust that his call came from God.
Right.
Not just someone's personal preference.
Yeah, not a popularity contest.
Or popularity contest,
I
exactly.
agree, exactly.
That reminds me of a quote from Elder Jeffrey R. Holland.
Oh.
He said, "We sustain our leaders not to make their lives more comfortable, but to make our own discipleship more certain."
Ooh, that's good.
That's a powerful way to frame it.
It is, yeah.
It shifts the focus
Yeah.
from the leader's perceived adequacy
Mm-hmm.
to our own responsibility to be faithful followers.
It's like we're all in this together,
We are.
each playing our part. And
Yeah.
that shared faith, it creates a space for something bigger than ourselves to happen.
Exactly. And you see this same principle at play in the Book of Mormon.
Okay.
Eyring brings up the story of King Benjamin.
Well, yeah, King Benjamin.
Remember?
Yeah.
He was this incredible leader who inspired deep repentance in his people.
He was.
But he wasn't perfect either.
No?
He acknowledged his own weaknesses
He did.
right there in front of everyone.
He did.
So that's the point,
Yeah.
What allowed the people to be so receptive to his message?
Mm-hmm.
to experience that profound change of heart.
Right.
It was their faith in his divine calling.
Right. Despite his imperfections,
Yes.
they saw him as God saw him.
Exactly. And that makes you think.
It does. How
I've
often
never-
are we viewing our leaders through a lens of our own expectations and judgments?
So easy to do.
It is.
Right.
Whether we think someone's too quiet or too loud, too experienced or too green, you know?
How about too old?
Or too old, yeah.
Right.
Are we missing the bigger picture, the way God sees their potential?
That's such a good question. And I think...
And are those... Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
And are those judgments hindering our own ability to receive the guidance that we need?
Exactly.
That's something Eyring really wants us to ponder.
I think so, too.
He shares this personal story from his time as a bishop for young single adults.
Okay.
This young man comes to him for counsel,
Mm-hmm.
and then, get this, comes back and asks to pray for the bishop to receive inspiration.
Okay, that's kind of hilarious.
It is kind of funny.
But also incredibly insightful.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the humor shouldn't overshadow the deeper message here.
That young man's faith, not necessarily in the bishop's initial advice,
Yeah.
but in the office of the bishop,
Right.
that's what opened the door for revelation.
Wow.
Sometimes it's the faith of others
Yeah.
that helps us tap into divine guidance.
That's incredible.
It is.
It's like this reminder that we're all connected in this process,
Yeah.
and our individual faith can have a ripple effect.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of faith and leaders,
Okay.
Eyring also recounts the story of those early church leaders criticizing Joseph Smith.
Yeah, I remember that.
They even doubted his prophetic calling.
They did.
And Brigham Young's response to that criticism
Oh, I love this.
is so powerful.
So powerful.
He basically said
Yeah.
their slander couldn't harm Joseph, but it would sever their own connection to God.
Wow.
It's a stark reminder of the importance of loyalty and sustaining our leaders,
Yeah.
especially during tough times.
It's so easy to get caught up in
It is.
that kind of negativity.
It's like Eyring is building this case for a different way of approaching
Yeah.
leadership and followership in the church. It's not about blind obedience or
Right.
putting people on pedestals.
No, pedestal.
It's about understanding that we're all part of this intricate tapestry,
Yeah.
connected by this invisible thread of faith and revelation.
And that thread, it runs from our individual calling
Yeah.
through our local leaders
Yeah.
all the way up to the prophet and ultimately to God.
Maintaining that connection,
Yeah,
it requires humility.
it does.
It requires a willingness to see beyond ourselves and
Yeah.
our own limited perspectives.
That's the hard part.
It is, but what happens when we start to lose sight of that thread?
Ooh, that's a good question.
What are the consequences of letting doubt and judgment creep in?
I like it. Stay tuned.
That's what we'll explore in part 2 of this deep dive.
Can't wait. So we've been talking about this idea of an invisible thread connecting us all in the church.
Right.
This flow of revelation and authority, you know?
Yeah.
But what happens when we start tugging on that thread?
Ooh, yeah.
Maybe even trying to snip it.
Because let's be real.
Yeah,
It's easy to do.
it is.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when we encounter situations that make us question our leaders or their decisions.
Absolutely.
Eyring doesn't shy away from addressing this.
He doesn't.
He talks about the potential consequences of letting doubt and judgment take root.
And he frames it in a way that really makes you think.
It does.
He says, if you judge those called to preside over you,
Okay.
you will find it hard to receive revelation from the Lord to guide those for whom you are responsible.
Wow.
Heavy stuff.
That's powerful.
It is, yeah.
It's almost like a warning, isn't it?
It is. It is a warning.
That our critical spirit, our tendency to judge others,
Right.
it can actually block the flow of revelation in our own lives.
It's like it creates this
Yeah.
spiritual dissonance, like a disconnect
Right.
between us and the source of divine guidance.
So it's not just about being uncharitable. It's about,
It affects us too.
yeah, it affects our ability to receive revelation.
And remember,
Yeah.
this applies to everyone,
Right.
not just those in high-profile positions.
It's not just the bishop.
Exactly. We all have callings.
Right.
We all have responsibility
And we all need that connection to the Spirit to guide us.
to guide us. Yeah.
So how do we guard against this?
Yeah, that's the question.
How do we cultivate the kind of faith that allows us to see our leaders and each other through a more divine lens?
That's good.
Eyring offers some practical advice,
Okay.
and it starts with recognizing the source of true judgment.
Okay, I like it.
He reminds us that judgment belongs to God,
Right.
not to us.
Yeah.
It's our job to love and support, to minister and serve, not to sit in judgment of others' worthiness or their calling.
And that's a hard one.
It is.
Right.
Because we're so conditioned to
Right.
evaluate, to compare,
Yeah.
to categorize.
That's almost a reflex.
It is.
To just size people up.
It is.
Right.
Yeah.
But Eyring, he invites us to think differently.
Okay.
He says, we must see those around us as the Lord sees them.
To see their potential.
To see their potential.
The way God sees their potential. Recognizing that each person,
Yes.
no matter their calling or their perceived flaws,
Right.
is a child of God, loved and cherished beyond measure.
And that love,
Yeah.
that divine perspective,
changes everything.
it changes everything. It allows us to
Yeah.
extend grace,
Yeah.
to offer compassion,
Patient.
to be patient and understanding.
Yeah. And that's where true unity begins, I think.
Yes.
When we start to see each other through the eyes of Christ.
Absolutely.
You know, I think one of the most practical ways to do this is to remember that even our leaders are human.
They are human? Oh, yeah.
They make mistakes. They have weaknesses.
They get angry,
They struggle just like the rest of us.
just like us.
And that's okay.
It is.
It's actually part of the plan.
It is, yeah.
Eyring emphasizes that God often calls the weak
He does.
to accomplish his purposes.
Yeah.
He uses their experiences, their imperfections,
It's their imperfections.
to teach them, to refine them,
That's how we grow.
and to ultimately make them powerful instruments in his hands.
It's like, think about Moses.
Yeah, Moses is a great example.
Right.
He was called to lead the Israelites out of Egypt.
Yeah.
But he was insecure, he doubted his abilities,
Yes, it's Moses.
and yet God worked through him.
He did.
Despite his weaknesses,
Yes.
to accomplish one of the most miraculous events in history.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's a powerful reminder that God doesn't need us to be perfect.
He just needs us to be willing.
He just needs us to be willing.
Willing to trust him.
Yes.
Willing to follow his promptings.
To serve.
Willing to serve even when we feel inadequate.
Even when we feel inadequate, yeah.
And that willingness, that humility, it's the key to unlocking the power of the priesthood, the power of the atonement in our lives.
Eyring reminds us that the Lord's power is made perfect in weakness.
It is.
When we acknowledge our limitations.
Yes.
When we lean on him for support.
Yeah.
That's when we become truly effective instruments in his hands.
So what does this all mean for us as we try to navigate the complexities of leading and following within the church?
I like that question.
It means letting go of our need to judge, to criticize, to control.
The control, to be right.
To be right.
Yeah.
It means choosing to see the good in others.
Yes.
To believe in their potential even when they fall short.
To offer grace.
To offer grace.
Compassion.
Compassion. Remember that we're all on this journey together.
We are.
All striving to become better disciples of Jesus Christ.
And it means recognizing that our individual faith,
Yes.
our willingness to trust and support our leaders, has a direct impact on the strength of that invisible thread that connects us all.
But what about those times when we genuinely disagree with a leader or a decision?
Yeah, those are tough. How do we reconcile our own personal convictions
Right.
with the need to sustain and support those in authority?
That's a tough question.
It is a tough question.
And one that Eyring doesn't shy away from addressing.
No, he doesn't.
Because it's bound to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in a global church with such diverse perspectives and experiences.
So how do we navigate those moments of tension?
Yeah.
How do we stay true to our own conscience while maintaining unity and respect for those called to lead?
That's such a good question. How do we navigate those moments where we maybe disagree with a leader or a decision?
It's a tricky thing, for sure.
Eyring doesn't, give us this easy answer.
Right, there's no magic formula.
Right.
Yeah.
He encourages us, though, to approach these situations with humility.
That's key, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
With this sincere desire to understand God's will.
And with a willingness to trust that process of revelation.
Because ultimately, that's what it comes down to. He reminds us that disagreement doesn't automatically equal disloyalty.
That's important to remember.
Right.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah, we can have different perspectives.
And can.
Even different opinions.
Right.
But still maintain that spirit of respect and unity.
I love that he uses the analogy of a family.
Oh, that's good.
Think about it.
Okay.
Families disagree all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
All the time.
But healthy families,
yeah,
they learn to communicate.
They do.
They listen to each other. They find common ground.
Right.
Even when they don't see eye to eye on everything.
Exactly. And that's what Eyring is inviting us to do, I think, within the church.
He is. He is.
To engage in that respectful dialogue.
Right.
To seek understanding.
And to trust that God can work through our differences.
Yes.
To bring about his purposes.
He also emphasizes the importance of timing, I think.
Oh, timing is huge.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best thing to do is just wait.
Absolutely.
Right. Sometimes it's better to just
pray, seek further guidance.
take a breath.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Before, voicing our concerns.
Right. Or taking action.
We're taking action.
Because sometimes,
Yeah.
you just need to let things settle a bit.
And he cautions us against, becoming divisive or contentious.
Right. Because remember,
Right.
the adversary thrives on discord and disunity.
He does. He loves it.
Yeah.
So Eyring encourages us to focus on what unites us,
Mm-hmm.
our shared faith in Jesus Christ,
Right.
our commitment to his gospel.
Our desire to build his kingdom.
So when we do find ourselves maybe at odds with a leader
Yeah.
or a decision, Eyring suggests, I think, a few key principles to guide our response.
Okay, I like that.
First and foremost, pray.
Always pray.
Right.
Yeah.
Pray sincerely for understanding. Seek God's perspective on the situation.
And ask for guidance on how to proceed.
Exactly.
Like, what's the next step?
Yeah.
What should I do?
Second, study the scriptures.
Yeah. Okay.
And the words of the prophets.
Good resources.
Right.
Yeah.
Look for principles and doctrines that can help us,
Yeah, they can shed light on what's going on.
Yeah, on the issue at hand.
Yeah.
Third, and I love this, counsel with trusted individuals.
This is a good idea.
Right.
Find those mentors.
Those mentors, those people you trust.
The people that can offer those wise and faithful perspectives.
Yes.
Because sometimes we can get in our own heads,
We can. Yeah.
and we need that outside voice.
And then finally, be willing to wait on the Lord.
Patience.
Patience, right.
Yeah.
Trust that he will reveal his will
In his own time.
in his own time and in his own way.
And that could be hard.
It can be hard,
Yeah.
especially in our world where everything is
Instant gratification.
instant, right.
Yeah.
But some things just
Some things take time.
take time.
Yeah.
This doesn't mean we just passively accept everything we're told.
No, we're not robots.
Right.
We're supposed to think,
We're supposed to think. We're supposed to ponder. We're supposed to,
to study it out in our minds.
study things out in our minds.
Yeah.
But it does mean approaching those disagreements with humility.
Right. And with a desire to learn.
Yes.
And with that faith that God is guiding his church.
Even when we don't fully understand his ways.
Even when we don't get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest.
Yeah.
We're not going to understand everything.
Nope. Not all the time.
Huh?
And that's okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
In the end, I think leading and following with faith really comes down to trusting in God's plan.
It does.
Even when it doesn't make sense to us.
Even when we don't get it.
Right.
It's about recognizing that we're all part of something so much bigger than ourselves.
We are. Yeah.
And our individual perspectives are just like a small piece of the grand tapestry
Grand tapestry.
that God is weaving.
It's about choosing to see the good.
The good.
To believe in the potential of others.
And to strive for that unity and harmony.
Yeah. Even amidst our differences.
Even amidst our differences.
It's about remembering that we're all on this journey together.
We are all striving.
Striving to become more like our Savior.
And he's leading the way.
Yes.
Even when the path is unclear.
Even when the path seems unclear.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into President Eyring's talk,
Mm-hmm.
we're left, I think, with a challenge.
Okay.
To cultivate that unwavering faith in Christ, in his leaders,
Yeah.
and in each other, to see beyond our limited perspectives.
And to embrace that grand vision that God has for his church.
Because it is grand.
It is.
And to remember that even amidst disagreements and imperfections,
Yeah.
his love and his guidance are always available
All.
to those who seek it with a sincere heart.
Always.
To those who seek it with a sincere heart.
That's the key.
That's the key.
A sincere heart.
Thanks for joining us
Yes, thanks everyone.
on this deep dive.
We hope you enjoyed it.
We hope this exploration of President Eyring's message has inspired you to lead and follow with greater faith. Absolutely.
Understanding and love.
More love.
Until next time.
Yes.
Keep seeking, keep learning,
Keep learning.
and keep diving deeper into the wonders of the gospel.
Can't wait to see you next time.